Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my Daily Dose with Tim. Today is season 3, episode 31. And back by popular demand, and actually, a lot of you guys that are watching season 3 are fairly new to my Daily Dose with Tim and the whole concept of financial education and real estate investing, as well as Trust Your Talent Academy. And so really by popular demand, this is really sort of by demand at this point because we've gone through 30 episodes already this season, and so many of you have been asking about lease options because I understand that so many of us, a lot of the times when we're getting started on this journey, we like to start small, which is also fine too, because honestly though, I always say this: we need to learn how to crawl before we learn how to walk, and we need to learn how to walk before we learn how to run. And when it comes to leveraging real estate as an asset class, obviously, learning how to walk is like picking up smaller properties so that we can actually create the proof of concept that we are all looking for. And once we start to get more used to the idea of applying strategies, seeing that it works, making the money that we need to be making, then we start to scale up. And scaling up, a lot of the times for most people, it means buying more properties. However, if you remember and have ever played the game of Monopoly, then you understand sometimes it's also you buy the same small assets. However, after a while, you trade it in. And this is also why a lot of the investors and a lot of my students, we do tend to like to start with lease options because it checks off a lot of the boxes that I just mentioned, because A, we are dealing with a smaller property, because at the end of the day, we also say that if you want to go into multis, whether it's small multifamily or larger multifamilies, at the end of the day, even when you go commercial and industrial, it is literally just more zeros and commas. It's really the thought process that really matters, okay? And so I want to make sure that that foundation is set, first of all. Second of all, I do want to share this with you because you've heard me say this a few times now. When it comes to the concept of financial education, and this doesn't necessarily just apply to real estate. However, I feel like because we are leveraging real estate investing as our main vehicle, it really is highly applicable because of the asset class itself. And I tend to say we buy and sell to create capital so that we can buy and hold to create the cash flow and the long-term wealth that we are all looking for. And incidentally, lease options, by definition, when you do it the right way and when you do it right, it is a win-win-win-win-win-win situation, minimum. And you also get to create a decent amount of capital to get injected into your future deals as well. However, most of us, we do enjoy lease options because of the higher cash flow per door that it can generate. And so I've dedicated basically the next 10 episodes to really demonstrate this particular strategy. And I know sometimes it doesn't always go as planned, as in if you have a lot of questions and feedback, and I'm actually going to go into some case studies as well. So I will be able to share with you how you can leverage lease option as an exit strategy, maybe on properties that you already own. Simply because of the fact that if you remember, one of the stories that I shared with you is the fact that I got to work with a surgeon and his wife on helping them exit their very, very expensive portfolio that was not performing, and using lease options to actually help them out to free up the capital to increase the cash flow on a monthly basis. And so with that said, today, as part 1 of how to execute lease options the right way, for many of you, I do want to bring it back to the basics first and foremost, because going back to the basics is so vital. And, you know, if you remember, this is actually my baby strategy, and it's actually the baby strategies among many, if not all, the coaches and trainers and mentors on the Trust Your Talent team. And I'm hoping that throughout the next 10 episodes, you are going to understand why that is. Now, first thing first, if you're anything like me, back 13 something years ago, your first goal is to free up your time so that you can focus on growing your own wealth, taking care of other things in your life. And for me, that other thing was my health. And so the point is, if you're looking to free up your time so that you can pursue the projects, the work that you need to do, and by work, I don't just mean, trading hours for dollars kind of work. It's not just about a job. This is a strategy you really want to pay attention to. However, I do want to warn everybody because there's so many people out there that are not doing this strategy right. And this is why I've already decided to dedicate at least 10 episodes towards this topic and this strategy. I understand there's going to be questions and feedback and comments from you, and most of the times they're coming in as direct messages. So all your DMs, they're really helping me really streamline in terms of how we progress with my Daily Dose with Tim these days. So thank you for that. So coming back here now, how to execute it. Like I said, I want to make sure that everybody understands the concept of lease options and why it's called lease options, because many of us, we've heard of rent to own. So I want to bring it back to you because lease options and rent to own, they are two of the same things. However, I always say this, if you've ever been trained by me or anybody from Trust Your Talent Academy for that matter, I want you to leverage the words lease options as much as you possibly can. Why? As we go along the next few episodes, I'm going to make it very clear and repeat myself because, again, from a legal standpoint, it is lease with the option to purchase. Okay, it's lease with the option to purchase, and that's why it's called a lease option. Okay, it's lease with the option to purchase. However, you can now see, understanding that now, why I'm not, trying to kiss you on the camera. It's just that I'm grabbing my markers. When you have a lease, basically you're renting the property out. And then the option to purchase, again, by definition, somebody that's got an option to purchase, they are your prospective buyer, or they are buyers with what we call the first right of refusal. Okay, it's a buyer or buyers with the first right of refusal. So this is why when they buy, they get to own the property at the end by definition. And this is why rent to own, as what we call it, is typically what I would say a marketing name or the street name of lease options. And so again, as an educated investor moving forward, I want you to constantly remind yourself, instead of using the words rent to own, you only use those words when you are doing your marketing, because again, that's what marketing is about. If people don't understand what it is that you're putting out there, your service and your products that you are selling, for the lack of better words, you're not going to attract anybody. You're not going to get their attention. So I'm totally okay with it for marketing purposes. However, as you are looking for the right tenant buyers, as you are looking for the properties, as you're structuring your paperwork, your contracts, okay, I want you to constantly remember that it is lease with the option to purchase. And as a result, the strategy is called lease options. Now, there are few reasons why we love it so much other than the fact that it does generate higher than average cash flow from a single family home. You're definitely going to see that when we are doing deal analysis, okay? So I will demonstrate that for sure. And at the end, I'm also going to share with you, it doesn't matter if you are looking to transition into being a full-time investor, or you're doing this to supplement your income, or you're doing this to make sure that you build a better financial future, or you're doing this to show your kids that there are better ways and other ways to make money, to free up their times, that they have options and choices in life. Whatever the case may be, the point is, I'm going to share with you that all you got to do really is 3 or 4 or maybe maximum 5 of these deals on an annual basis, and your financial situation will drastically, and I mean drastically, if not dramatically, improve in just about 3 short years. again, I'm not going to say 3 months because I know that's a promise that I'm not going to be able to fulfill, simply because of the fact that this is real estate, and we always say it is not get rich quick, and yet it is definitely get rich for sure once you do it right. And so on that note, again, raising funds seems to be a very, very common and popular topic. And that's actually a course that we just kickstarted again internally with the Trust Your Talent community just this past month as well. And so raising funds is great. However, it is a soft strategy, as we call it. This lease options is what I would call a hard strategy. And you need to marry the two, because it's okay if you have access to capital. However, if you do not have good deals to park the capital in, you're putting that capital at risk. And so if it's yours, and more importantly, if you actually have access to OPM, you have friends and family and coworkers that trust you because they've known you for a while, and you've decided to embark on this journey as a professional real estate investor, it is your job. It is your duty to protect their money for them as well. And so again, you got to make sure that when you're going shopping, you're equipped, not shopping for deals, I mean, you got to make sure that you are equipped with the right knowledge and experience and the support and the community that are backing you at all times. And so I'm going to go into also how you conduct property management. Now you can see some of the dots that we've gone through over the last 30 episodes are now starting to connect as well. However, one of the main reasons, as I mentioned, back on this train now, why we like lease options is typically because of the fact that it requires very little to no property management, as opposed to a typical short-term, midterm, and long-term rental. Okay, so depends on how you want to qualify this. There is a clear end date to every single lease option deal that you get into. And so the beautiful part about that is that you can forecast your profit level, you can forecast your cash flow, and you know exactly how to plan your next step. Because when there's a clear beginning and a clear end, you know how to leverage the profit and the money that you've made into either your lifestyle or your portfolio or the next deal. Okay. And so number one, higher than average cash flow. Number two is definitely, as I mentioned, the ease of management. Okay. And this is why a lot of the investors, we really like it, especially for beginners. Okay. I know some of you guys, knowing this strategy, you might be arguing, you have the tendency to argue, to say, it's still a lot of work. I don't know if this is a beginner strategy. However, I'm going to share with you that I do personally believe, as long as you are doing it the right way. And number three, like I said, one of the best thing about this strategy now is it's tenant first. It's tenant first. So what that means really is the fact that once you actually have your tenant qualify and your tenant buyers ready to go into this program with you, and once you actually buy the property and they move in, you start cash flowing from day one. More often than not, when you have a property first approach, or when you do the traditional buy and hold, or even if you're doing the BRRRR process on an income property, regardless of small or big, there's always going to be additional wait time. And so the third benefit for most investors now is the fact that it actually cash flows from day one. Okay, so just to name a few things here, and the benefits really is ongoing. And as I will demonstrate some of those as we go along in the future episodes on this specific topic. Now, I really want to focus on one thing quickly, because based on the questions that I've been getting over the last few episodes now, I am realizing that so many people have forgotten about the wheel of wealth. And so with every hard strategy, I want to make sure that we revisit that, because of the fact that this is so core and so central to how you build your portfolio, and more importantly, how you scale it and protect it in the long term. Okay, we're in it for the long game. I cannot begin to share with you how many people, how many investors and coaches out there have come and gone just in the last 13 years, simply because the fact that it is not a total overall approach to building a real estate portfolio. This is literally building a business. So for those of you who are parents, maybe you have babies right now, young kids, or maybe they're already grown. It doesn't matter. The idea is it's kind of like raising a child. In the beginning, it's what we call the days are long, but the years are short. Okay. So what that means is in the beginning, it always feels like it's a bit of a grind every single day. However, before you know it, wow, they're all grown up and they're self-sufficient. And that's true. That is so very true with real estate. It's just that so many people, they're looking for shortcuts. Getting trained is a shortcut. It definitely collapses your time frame, especially when you're working with mentors. However, you want to make sure that you have all the ingredients that you need. And so I will share a little graph with you in a little bit that one of my mentors shared with me as well, and why an overall curriculum on financial education focusing on real estate investing, if that's your chosen vehicle, is so important, as opposed to just taking raising funds or multifamily or agreement for sale or lease option here and there. All the dots need to connect so that you become the best equipped investor possible to not only grow and protect your income streams and wealth. So coming back here now, lease option, as we say, where does it fit in this in the wheel of wealth? Well, let's take a look. What's back in the wheel of wealth one more time? We have our active income, we have our passive income, as well as our equity or portfolio income. Okay. And if you remember from the original episode of Wheel of Wealth, lease option really is the only strategy, is the only hard strategy that actually feeds into all three of them. And that's why we love it so much, because what that means is it doesn't really matter. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't really matter what your current financial situation is. If you learn how to execute the strategy properly, it's not even a matter of if anymore. It's a matter of when you're going to create that financial success for yourself. And like I said, at the end of this entire module, I will share with you that you actually don't need to be doing a lot of deals, because as you remember, I don't really advocate for people to quit their jobs if they enjoy it, or the fact that, you know, they've been in it for a while now and they're kind of doing okay, and it's not a soul-crushing job like it was for me. Now, the whole point is, though, I really do believe that many of us, you know, when we build a career in our regular day-to-day jobs, usually it's because initially we've invested the time, the money, the sweat and tears to get a degree, to get a specialty, and then we go into the field that we really like. And even though we do enjoy it, most of the times it's because of office politics, it's because of bad bosses, it's because of different economic situations, or the sheer fact that you have to go to this job to collect that paycheck so that you can pay your bills and sustain your lifestyle. The moment you're able to create multiple sources of income, a lot of that will change. I have come across so many people in my career so far that they never bothered to quit their jobs, because a lot of them, they go, you know what? Once I was able to declare financial freedom, all of a sudden my job became so much more enjoyable again. It's simply because of the fact that they now know they have option, because they've achieved that financial freedom. And that's a different definition of financial freedom than what I think most people believe in. It's really just having the choices and the options in life to do whatever you want, however you want, and whenever you want. And that is really the highest form of financial independence and financial freedom. Now, coming back here, this is the only strategy that feeds into every single income bucket within the wheel of wealth. And so as we get into the deal analysis portion of this particular topic, probably in a couple of more episodes. So bear with me. I really want to lay down the groundwork here, okay? And so once we get into that, you will see exactly what I mean by this. And so on that note, I also want to make sure that you understand, because I touched on this already. I said this is basically a tenant first approach, because most other strategies, we are typically leveraging a property first approach, which makes sense because real estate is our chosen asset class. Okay. And so this is where it needs to twist a little bit. And as a result, later on, when we talk about the need for property management, I will bring some of those topics that we already covered back in here as well. So this topic is really inspired and on some level highly requested by many, many of you. So I hope that you're happy, and I'm happy talking about this simply because this is my baby strategy. And this is the strategy that really propelled me and launched me into financial freedom, buying back my time so that I could focus on getting healthy. And again, thank you so very much. So many of you have commented on the fact that I don't look like I've had 3 heart attacks and live with 6 autoimmune disorders these days. And I appreciate the comment. And I'm very proud of how far I have come from a physical health and look standpoint. I feel good these days and no major problems. Thank you for asking. And it's simply because of the fact that I was able to create financial freedom and earn my time back. And time is everything. Time is not just money. Yes, in certain circumstances, time is money, especially when we were looking at the property management calculations in the few previous episodes. However, again, time is everything. It's the only thing right now. Right now, I don't know what science is going to come up with. Right now, time is something that we simply are not able to actually buy back. So we can buy back the time that we're given now, and let's make the best of it. So with that said, as you can see, today's episode is now in the Talented Investors group. For those of you who are not in this group yet, make sure that you come and join us. And every single day, I will be here with you at noon Eastern Standard Time and 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time and 9 a.m. Pacific Time. And your comments, your feedback, your shares, and your likes will really, really help out the people who really enjoy these episodes and also that you think need to learn about this. And for those of you who are already educated, who are already active investors, I really highly encourage you to share some of these episodes, because over the last 3 years now, since I started season 1 of my Daily Dose with Tim, I've gotten so many DMs, and not all of you guys will be in the Trust Your Talent Academy community, and that's totally fine. But I've also received messages from people that simply said, Tim, these episodes have helped me raise funds. I just ask people to watch my Daily Dose with Tim, and then they come back to me. And so it doesn't really matter, because my personal goal is to push financial education out there into the world and help people truly learn how to leverage real estate as an asset class and real estate investing as a wealth and income generation tool. And so with that said, I appreciate your support. And I hope you're excited, because I am excited about this topic. I always have a lot of emotional attachment to this particular strategy. And as we go along, I'm pretty sure you're going to see why. On that note, have a great week ahead. And I know it's just Monday right now, so have a great rest of the day. Start your week strong. I appreciate you joining me today. And I will see you back here tomorrow for the next episode. Live well, everybody.